welcome to another episode of Embracing Wisdom with Stacie. I'm excited for this topic. It's not an easy topic by any means, but it's a question that I get asked quite a bit. And I recently was asked this question on my website. And so I wanted to think about it for a couple weeks and then be able to address it. We're going to talk chronic pain. We're going to talk how do you create a great life despite having chronic pain. And chronic pain is something that many people live with, and we all handle it differently. We all have different versions, different ways that we address it. And being followed by people on your medical team is so important when you are dealing with something that's ongoing day after day after day after day. But where the holistic side of dealing with chronic pain comes in is a few things that I want to talk to you about. Been diagnosed with chronic pain for almost 20 years. So much of my adult life has been dealing with different variations of pain. And I can't really think of a time in my life in the last 20 years that I didn't hurt. I can't really think about it. I remember one time I was getting a massage and I was laying there, and for a brief, maybe minute or two, I had zero pain. That's pretty amazing. I remember that moment. It's like, oh, I don't have pain right now. So I do have several tools that I implement into my daily life that help me continue to work, raise a family, build a great garden, have an amazing life, plenty of friends, and not let the pain get in the way of that. I know for some people, pain can be so debilitating that even getting out of bed becomes impossible. So the tools that I am going to offer you are tools that I have found useful. That doesn't mean that there aren't days that I wish I was laying in bed. I don't think about that much anymore because I found that some of the tools that I put into place every day require me to get up. And that has in turn helped me deal with my pain. I will say that my pain never goes away. I'm just really good at distracting myself away from pain. And so I try not to talk about pain all the time. I know that some people don't even know that I have chronic pain because it's not something that's on the forefront of how I present myself. You might even look at me and my shape, my form, my size, and say, how can she be suffering with chronic pain? I am, but I choose other things. So let's talk about a few of my tools in my toolbox. The number one tool that I believe is imperative at helping our body's pain receptors not take over our life is gratitude. And I know that that might sound really flaky and airy-fairy to a lot of people, but there is so much science and so much research backing up the claim that gratitude can help you sleep better. It can help your relationships be better. It can help even your physical well-being. It can help with heart disease. There's so many things that gratitude can do. And so being thankful is one thing, but having a very deliberate gratitude practice is a whole other ball of wax. I found that committing to a formal gratitude practice, which means you write down or put into your computer or find an app that works for you, daily gratitudes and why. So if you're going to be grateful for your friends and family, it would be useful to jot down why you're grateful for your friends, because they help you feel connected. They help you feel seen. Why are you grateful for your family? Because they love you unconditionally. Why are you grateful for your home? Because it provides a sanctuary and safety. Why are you grateful for your pet? Because it gives me somebody to love. Really getting into the specifics. I think that that is where gratitude goes into a deeper level into our spirits and then into our bodies. I also have found using our five senses to identify things in our present moment, present day that we're grateful for can really start to take you from being thankful to really feeling gratitude. And so if you just think about just today, What have you seen? What have you touched? What have you smelled? What have you tasted? What have you heard? And identifying those things. Why is the color yellow on my petunias making me happy? Ah, because they're like, it's like they're smiling at me. Why does the feel of the weight of my cat sitting on my lap feel so good? Because it's warm and comforting. So using your senses gives you 5 things every single day, and then you will figure out why you chose those 5 things, and you will go from being consumed with thinking about pain to being consumed with thinking about the good things in your life. I say this all the time. When we continue to take our brain down the same gravel path, the ruts of that gravel path get deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper as we go along to the same destination that's consumed by pain. But if we turn our little car around and we find a new path that leads to a different destination, and that destination is gratitude, and we start driving down that path, those ruts will become deeper and deeper. And then it becomes just the way that we think. Okay. Initially, starting out having a lot of pain, that's all I thought about, talked about, existed in. When I rerouted, turned my car around, started to find joy in small things like yellow petunias or the sound of children laughing or the soft whisper of a breeze across my face on a hot day. And then all of a sudden I'm driving down a new path and my pain is becoming less prominent. It's not going to get rid of my pain. I'm just going to retrain my brain to not think about it. Okay, so gratitude, number one, for anybody, whether you have pain or not, should be part of your practice and not just in your head. I'm grateful for, but taking the time, it takes 3 minutes to type into your tablet, type into your computer, write down in a notebook the 3 to 5 things you're grateful for and why. Imperative. Second tool that I find to be one of the most useful for me is self-care. Now, self-care changes for me. There may be times where my self-care is investing in massage weekly or bubble baths or having a nice cup of coffee by myself at a coffee shop is a form of self-care. It's anything that feeds you, that fills up your cup, that makes you feel good. When we take the time to invest in ourselves in the form of self-care, it can do wonders for the mind, body, and the spirit. You don't have to spend a day at the spa and then just go back to your stressful life, but finding something that you can do every single day to care for you is so important. If you love to cook, finding new recipes. If you love to crochet, making sure that you have time in your life that you're choosing to sit down with your yarn. A lot of times people will say, I don't have time for self-care. And that's a choice that you're making that's not creating your best life. So we have a laundry list of excuses as to why we don't feel that we are worth it. We don't have the time to do it. We don't have the resources to do it. Walking is free. Getting outside is free. Sitting in the sun is free. I have found that since my hip surgery, my self-care has changed quite a bit. I used to always get in a bathtub and that was my thing. Well, it's a little bit hard to get in and out, and I'm just now starting to get comfortable doing that. But when I wasn't, I was finding joy in taking long hot showers or not really getting massage right now because I still am dealing with some blood clots and they don't want me to have that. So instead of getting a massage, I'm spending more time outside in my garden or spending time in the pool has been a recent self-care practice for me. I bake bread. I don't eat it, but I bake it and I give it away. That's a form of self-care. So pare it down to something tangible, something easy for you to do, whether it's sitting and reading a book for 15 minutes or making bread or learning a new skill, maybe learning how to grow something, nurturing other things is a very, very rich form of self-care, which is why I love gardening. I spend time nurturing something else that will in turn nurture me. It's amazing. Surrounding your home with beauty. So I love to have houseplants because they're alive and they're green and they require attention from me that takes my attention off of me and into something else. Okay. So gratitude, your version of self-care, movement is so important. That's another one of my tools. I have to move every day. It can be a walk around the block a few times a day. It could be a longer hike if my body's up for it. I have one of those little pedaling machines that older people use, and I sit out here with my book and I pedal for 20 minutes. I spend time in my garden every single day in the summer months. That's movement. Of course, yoga, if it's suitable for you, feels great. There's so many things that you can do to move your body. And I remember my rheumatologist were very back in the first few experiences in the rheumatology world. She told me, if you don't move it, you will lose it. And movement is going to be what keeps you from sinking into pain. So if, you have ankle surgery, which I had, I don't know, in 2020, I had ankle surgery. So I moved my upper body a lot. I did a lot of chair yoga with my arms. I did a lot of upper body stuff. I bicycled my legs. I wasn't putting any body weight on. I was sitting in my chair, just bicycling. I did a lot of Pilates when I was healing from my ankle surgery. Anything that just got me in my body, moving it. Since my hip surgery, not able to walk as much as I like to walk. So I found other activities to move, sitting in a chair, doing some chair yoga, again, coming to Pilates, something that's not going to be too taxing on my hip. Now I'm getting into the pool. I didn't think I'd be back in water aerobics ever. And here I am 3 days a week and loving it. So finding something that you can do movement wise that's not a direct pain point on your pain. Now, if you have global pain, and many times my pain is all over my body, the thing that I recommend the most is not succumbing to that pain. Don't sit and watch a movie all day because you hurt, because you will hurt more. And that does not to say that you need to go run a marathon, but you need to do something. Get up, take a walk around your neighborhood, look for your gratitudes, bake something, meet a friend for a short walk, do something that gets you out of the cycle of just sitting with your pain. Movement does so much for our brain, produces endorphins, it gives us that good feeling. Anything that's going to be an activity that makes us feel good, and if you can do it outside, even better. So gratitude, self-care, movement are going to be three amazing tools for your toolbox that is going to retrain the brain, focusing and latching onto pain to latching onto the good in your life. How am I going to love myself today? And then finding something that gets my blood flowing, that gets my body in motion. Those are my top 3 ways that I deal with my pain. And then the final tool that I catch myself probably doing the most when I experience pain is not having negative self thoughts and talk about my body being broken. I will not say, pain is killing me. Oh, my pain is killing me. Oh, my hip is killing me. I'm very careful with the words that I choose when I speak to myself or others about my pain. And this lesson came to me from a student of mine who was injured in Afghanistan, came home from his tour injured, discharged from the military, and then about 6 months later suffered a stroke. So he was in my civilian program for people with brain injuries. And I would come into the class and I would say, oh, my hip is killing me. My hip is killing me. And he said, Miss Stacie, there's another way to think about it. And here this man lives with pain, is, incredibly impacted with injury. He said, there's a way to think about that. And you can think about it this way. My pain is reminding me that I'm alive. And ever since that moment, I will catch myself dwelling on the pain, saying, my body's a mess, my hip's a mess, my body's broken, something's wrong with me, my pain is killing me, my hip's killing me, to I'm experiencing pain. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but what I'm going to do to make myself feel better is I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to practice self-care. I'm going to move my body. And that taking control of the pain and the things that make me feel good is loosening the control that pain has on me. So again, I say this every single week. Anytime we're experiencing something hard, we have two choices. I can go that way and dwell in pain and talk about pain and worry about pain and be pain and identify as pain and identify as a diagnosis. I don't do that. I choose not to identify as a diagnosis. In fact, most people in my life don't even know I have two, three diagnoses that has direct link of chronic pain. 3 diagnoses, but I don't identify as this. I don't say I'm this. I am Stacie and I am creating the best life for me. And here's how I do it. That path of dwelling on it, identifying as it, talking about it, becoming it, wearing it like a label, not for me. Going this way, down this side of the path, where I notice beauty, I recognize people in my life that make me feel value, having purpose every day, getting up and moving my body, practicing things that nurture me. That's the path that I'm going to go. So you get a choice. You're on a path of chronic pain. Not every day you're going to be able to get out there and choose loving yourself, nurturing yourself, finding gratitude in the color yellow. Some days you're going to want to stay there. Just don't stay there long, because the longer you're on that path, the harder it is to turn around. That's how I deal with chronic pain. That's my secret sauce to getting up every day with the same level of pain that I had yesterday, is I choose. And some days it's really hard. It's really hard. But I know that if I move and I practice my gratitude and I pay attention to the good in my life, and I love me and I take care of me and I put me as a priority, and I move my body in some ways every day, I'm going to be on that side of the path living my best life. And I sort of have a rule about movement that works for me. If I sit for 30 minutes, I'm going to move for 15. If I sit for an hour, I'm going to move for 30. So as I'm sitting here chatting 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to get up and take a walk around the block, maybe 2 laps around the block. Then I'm going to go run a couple errands. That's movement. I'm not going to be so tired and stiff. When I get up from this chair, I will be stiff. I will be sore, but I'm not going to go right down into the sofa and lay down because I'm stiff and sore. I'm going to get up and move. I'm going to be alive. I'm going to look for beauty. And then later on in the day, I'll do something else loving for myself. I just don't give myself a chance to sit long, because the longer I sit, the more I hurt. And the more I hurt, then the more I want to stay on that side of the road. And the more that I'm doing something that helps me to remember I'm alive, that side of the road, the better I'm going to be. So that's my take on chronic pain. Of course, having a team of doctors and getting what you need to treat your chronic pain is imperative. But these tools that you can have in your toolbox are yours, and they don't require a prescription. They don't require a doctor. They're yours to empower yourself to live your best life. Gratitude, self-care, movement, finding that retraining of your thoughts and that purpose, and not labeling and identifying as a diagnosis. So it works for me. All right, that's the answer to the question that was given to me a couple weeks ago on my website. So keep the questions coming. I still want to go back and talk a little bit more part 2 of strengths, because I got a ton of feedback on the Strengths Finder podcast. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It will change your relationships. If you're a worker, an employee, a business leader, it will change the way you work with your colleagues. So I'm going to do a part 2 because I think there's more to say on strengths and how we can best use the strengths that we have and not feel like we have to fix what's wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with us. Even if we have a chronic pain diagnosis, nothing's wrong with us. So that's what I have for you. I'll see you all next week and have a beautiful week. Do something good for yourself. You will be glad you did. All right, take care. See ya.